there's no substitute to that two-way communication. And while that doesn't make sure that things are perfect always, I'm a big believer, and as mayor, I insist upon it, that our officers have to be accessible to members of the public.
So big good news for San Diego. It was named one of the safest big cities in the country. What are you doing differently?
It is positive news, and I think it's a combination of factors. As you look at our real emphasis on community policing, that's always been a hallmark of San Diego. I had the opportunity to bring on a new police chief, the first female police chief that we've ever had in the history of San Diego, Shelley Zimmerman. And Chief Zimmerman's doing a remarkable job, really connecting with the officers, making sure, as I said, that our community outreach, it's not about driving in cars, it's about getting out in the neighborhoods and talking with folks, engaging the community. So I think we have a variety of programs. Real proud of what we're doing on body cameras as the largest adopter of any big city in the country right now. I think all of these are really playing together into the bottom line, which is making neighborhoods safer.
Has there been pushback from the unions in San Diego about the body cameras?
Great question. Surprisingly, no. Our Police Officers Association adopted it readily, and so they saw the benefits of it, and we've seen that. Complaints are down, and it's exactly what you would expect. It's a benefit to the officer that's wearing the camera, and it's a benefit to the citizens whose civil liberties we're out there to protect. And so I think that it's we've seen other cities across the country that are now looking, hey, San Diego, how did you do it? How did you adopt your model? What are your policies? I think it's working. We're always looking to make some tweaks, but as we're going into this for about a year now, it's been very well received by our police officers and our community.
There's a national concern and mood that's very skeptical of police generally right now. Have you seen that play out at all in San Diego?
There is a national mood, and I think that's something that you always have to guard against. And I think one of the things that we stress is, what part of our DNA in San Diego and our police department is, our officers are going to community and planning board meetings. They're out there, community groups and organizations giving updates, giving reports. So if there's issues or problems, folks know, hey, my lieutenant's going to be there or my captain's going to be there. There's no substitute to that two-way communication. And while that doesn't make sure that things are perfect always,
sure.
I'm a big believer, and as mayor, I insist upon it, that our officers have to be accessible to members of the public.
One surprising fact that I learned a few months ago is that Southern California is one of the hotbeds, sadly, for human trafficking. Yeah. How is that playing out in San Diego, and what are you specifically doing and the police force specifically doing to combat that?
It is unfortunately a very real issue, and in fact, I give a lot of support and credit to our district attorney, Bonnie Dumanis, who's really on the leading edge nationally tackling this issue, along with our sheriff and our city. We're really trying to combat it with all of us. It's about education, it's about outreach, doing a lot of work with our schools, because unfortunately some of the victims of this are very young. So it's all about outreach, it's all about communication and making sure that we're providing the resources necessary.
And one of the things that makes San Diego interesting, obviously, is an area that's so close to the border with Mexico. Are you seeing a challenge at all in terms of human trafficking and traveling to and from the border?
There's always going to be challenges when it comes to issues of public safety with the border, and that is part of it.
Sure.
But when I look at the border, and I think a lot of us in San Diego, we look at it as an opportunity, as we're fortunate to have San Diego and Tijuana right here, and when we look at it as one region together,
sure.
We're an economic powerhouse, culture, families, business. It's a net positive by any sense of the imagination, and it's something that I foster with our relationship with Mayor Astizaran in Tijuana, and increasingly a lot of our business groups and organizations, as we say, let's strengthen our ties with Northern Baja, because that's only a benefit for us in San Diego.
Certainly. So another issue that's actually kind of percolating, right, is that it's safer in San Diego. Law enforcement seems to be doing a better job than historically. I mean, they've done a good job regionally. Then, there's also this issue that typically law enforcement is a little bit tenuous about, which is marijuana dispensaries, the legalization of marijuana, which seems like it's a matter of time. There's likely to be a ballot initiative on the ballot next year in 2016. In San Diego, is there any efforts to legalize marijuana, particularly medical marijuana, and is law enforcement on board with that, or is it a big concern?
Great question. We do have the ability to permit a certain amount of dispensaries, and in fact, we just started some of those just this past year. It was a very contentious issue that ran through the city council, but we decided to make sure we had the oversight to limit the numbers in terms of geographic location, and I think that's the best approach to ensure that you're actually helping people that need help, but at the same time, you do not see a proliferation of dispensaries and illegal shops, on every type of neighborhood. That's not something that San Diegans support.
Sure. And do you support eventually? Do you think if a ballot initiative came up that you would support legalizing marijuana wholesale, or
no, I think what we need to do is the right approach that we've done is for those people that have the doctor's prescription, that need it, that there's a safe place for them to get it, but it's not something that we want to see in every neighborhood.
Now, one of the criticisms that I've read recently about where the distribution of marijuana shops in San Diego are, it's all in poorer areas. And some people are saying, well, you're putting all the marijuana shops in already troubled areas, not in the wealthier areas. Is that true? And
no, actually, we took, I think, the right approach, which is to say we'd limit it to certain amounts in every single district. And I think that makes the most sense. So it's not a case of you just have some here and you just have some there. It has to be equal. It has to make sense. And in fact, we have a review and a planning group in our planning commission that goes through that to actually get the permit. So I think that we've struck the right balance in San Diego, and we're seeing these come online, but it's going to be a very limited number, and I think that's the right approach.